I welcome all of you again this morning. Some of you are doing double duty. You were here yesterday. It's great to see you again. I also want to send out a special welcome to those of you who are watching online. I know that there are folks in Chilliwack, in Hope, in Vancouver, probably even here in Abbotsford, who are following along. And so welcome. My name is Ed, one of the pastors here, and it's a delight to have you joining us either now or sometime in the next number of days. Before we begin, I want to make sure, does everybody have a rock? If you do not have a rock, you'd like one, you want to just put your hand up. The ushers will bring you one. Anybody? There are a few in the back. If you don't mind just making sure. Yeah, right in there. Great. We will need these. Anybody else? There's also a couple up in the balcony that could use a rock, so I'll let you grab those. Hopefully you're not, at the end of the service, going to throw them at me. That's not the intent. But if you want, while I am speaking, it would not be a bad thing to hold on to it and feel the contours of this rock and how firm and strong and hard it actually is. I was intrigued as I looked at the passage that we've already had read, how it tied in with what Charlotte shared with us last Sunday. So in a sense, we're kind of doing part 2 of our story, although it's a different story, a different angle on an encounter that somebody had with Jesus. For today's story, and as you have this rock, as you hold on to it, I would encourage you to ponder being part of the story and entering into that experience. You can choose one of the characters if you like, but I would suggest that you position yourself as the crowd. And visualize with me what that might have been like that morning. To be there in that context. It's really quite a gripping story. And there are 4, probably more, but I highlight 4 different characters in this story. At the center, understandably, is Jesus. Writer John says that early in the morning, there's a little bit of a prefix to this, but probably Jesus had been out spending the night in prayer. And he comes early in the morning to the temple to teach, as had been his custom and had been his practice for some time. And so he gathers there in the morning to teach and to talk with those who assemble around him. But here's where things change. Suddenly, not far from him, a woman is brought into the context and literally probably thrown to the ground at his feet. Disheveled, fearful, I'm sure looking down, accused, horrified. Her life literally hanging in the balance. Behind her, the accusers. These are the leaders of the temple. They have been spending the night scheming. And different than Jesus, who probably spent the night in prayer, They evidently were prowling. How they found her? What ends they had to go to figure out this story? We're not told. But they are the leaders of the establishment. And they want to trap Jesus. But around the periphery are the onlookers, the crowd. And that's where you and I fit in. Innocent bystanders. Just taking in the drama as it unfolds around us. Possibly quiet, trying to be uninvolved. We actually came to listen and to hear Jesus. But whether we know it or not, we are holding a rock. Can you visualize that setting? Can you place yourself in that crowd as you hold on to your rock? Because you just might be asked to use it. The leaders have set a trap. You see, they want to trip up Jesus. They want to get rid of him. They want him to make a mistake. And so they put him in a bind. They force him to make a choice between mercy or obeying the law. When you think about it, their tactics are really quite deplorable. They found a woman caught in adultery, our story says. How did they find her? Last time I checked, it takes two. Where's the man? And no one is there to defend her. She's literally a pawn in the game. She's thrust into this scene, shamed, dehumanized, at the mercy of Jesus. They look to Jesus and they say boldly and loudly, Jesus, the law tells us that she should be stoned. What do you say? What is your response, Jesus? And they jeer him because they think they have him trapped. And he becomes quiet. He bends down. He writes on the ground. And we're not told what he writes. There's been all kinds of speculation. Probably doesn't matter. But he's implored, Jesus, what do you say? And finally, he rises up and he responds quietly but clearly. If any of you is without sin, let him be the first to throw a stone at her. And then he bends down and again begins to write on the ground. If you analyze it and think about it, it was an amazing response. It was powerful. They didn't see that coming, and they were stumped. Their trap backfired. Now, just a side note. It is true that in Moses' law, an individual caught in adultery could be stoned. Do you know why the punishment was stoning? Again, there's not necessarily a whole lot of clarity on this, but one thought has been that because when a whole community becomes a mob and they all throw stones, no one person carries the blame. We all do. And there's blood on everyone's hands. Slowly, these leaders begin to slip away. First, the older ones, maybe they're a little wiser, until only Jesus is left there, standing in front of this woman. And he straightens up a bit more, and he asks her, "Woman, where are your accusers? Has no one condemned you?" And she looks around. She says, "No, sir." "Then neither do I condemn you. Go now and leave your life of sin." Jesus is able to demonstrate mercy over judgment. He sees her. He acknowledges her. And he offers mercy and grace. He offers her a way out while the critics are silenced. It was a powerful moment. I can see the crowd, all of us leaning in, taken aback, beginning to smile, maybe even cheering, saying, "He got them." But hold on just a moment. Before you get too excited, it's only a short time later, and this same crowd is shouting, "Crucify! Crucify!" You see, rocks are powerful, and we hold on to them. And our inclination is to use them. This story has played out throughout history, and it continues to play out today. Shaming, labeling, belittling, dehumanizing, the powerful oppressing the weak. Those with privilege using our power to harm those who do not have the power. Fear mixed with hatred. And we witness it today on a daily basis. Blatant racism showing up again. Hatred, othering, people singled out, dehumanized, ridiculed, shamed, alone, with no defense. It's become so common, really, in the last number of years, that we almost take it for granted as being normal. Oh, they're just immigrants from Haiti or Somalia, Palestinians. Oh, they're gay, transgender, people of color, Jews. And then there's personal names that we're hearing and discovering. Renee Nicole Good, Alex Peretti. And I thought, should I show this young guy? And I decided I would, because he represents for us this story. Do you recognize little 5-year-old Liam? He was caught up in one of the raids in Minneapolis. He and his father, they originally come from Ecuador, legally seeking asylum in the U.S. the things that have been said, the derision, the comments. What do we do with that? There's so much vitriol and hateful speech, violence. And I don't know if you're like me, but sometimes you feel confused, uncertain, almost paralyzed. We may simply wish to hide, to be silent, to look the other way. When Charlotte shared with us last Sunday, she highlighted the fact that we can be a stone thrower, a stone avoider, or a stone catcher. One thing is certain: we hold stones because we represent power. We are the crowd. And we do respond. And often, as a crowd, we're being asked to take our stones and to hurl them at individuals. Oh, mostly figuratively, not always literally, but to participate in the hate, to join with the chorus of taunts, the name-calling, to side with those in power who are inflicting these kind of vices, or to silently simply listen to the taunts as they happen. And sometimes we get interrupted by things in our lives. What do we do with our rocks? Do we join the chorus? Do we act on the vitriol? Or might we choose to follow the way of Jesus and actually lay them down? To say no to the hatred in our time, to choose mercy over judgment. You see, we are not powerless. We do not need to hide. We have agency. We can choose. We can choose to follow Jesus' way, to seek mercy over judgment. We can choose to lay down our power and privilege. We can choose to lay down our rock. As a person that has been struggling with knowing what to do in this moment, I know we're somewhat removed from certain things we see in other parts of the world, but we're not that far removed. And I wonder, how do I respond? And so I thought this morning, one way would be to symbolize our allegiance to Jesus, to symbolize that we do not want to be rock throwers or even rock avoiders. That together, and I'm going to do this, and you may want to choose to follow me, we could literally come to the front, kind of like a John Dawson moment, and lay down our rock. And in so doing, saying, I will not be a rock thrower. I will strive to do more than simply dodging rocks and avoiding them. And when possible, I will stand in the way and be a rock catcher. So I'm going to leave it to you. You can participate if you wish. And maybe there's too many things going through your mind right now. You might want to take this rock home and ponder this more, and that's perfectly fine. But if you like, and you want, I'm going to invite you to come and simply drop your rock off here at the front. And if by chance you need a hand or you want somebody to bring it to the front, maybe I'll ask our ushers just to be alert. If there is somebody that's saying, hey, could you just take mine to the front? We can do that for you as well. I just wanted to give us an opportunity to respond. We'll take a few minutes. We're going to have some music playing. And then we're going to close with a last song. We all carry rocks. What do we want to do with it? I invite you to respond.